Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our round previews. So today we are going to be previewing round number 6 of the 2022 AFL season. So technically the way that I am kind of using this is as a extended kind of tipping. So if you're more a person that likes to watch more talking tipping videos, this is exactly for you. But of course I do still put out the normal regular tipping as well. This is just for a little bit more fun as well. So, of course, going to be round previewing. I'm going to be previewing every game, going over the chances of, going over my predictions, and let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into things. So the Giants and the Saints is the first game of the round. Monica Oval, Friday night footy. We love it. GWS, St Kilda. Now, again, I would say, looking into this battle back in round 1, you'd be saying, relatively even contest we have between these two teams, and you probably even put the Giants as slight favourites back then. And now the Saints have won their past 4 games, or 4 of their past 5, or 4 of their past 4, whichever way you want to take it. That is how well they've gone. So they are in some really good form. Their forwards, their midfield, their backline, all connecting really, really well. They've been a bit of a powerhouse as well. They've scored 142 against the Hawks. They're up there with 87 against the Suns. Sorry. So they are getting good scores as well throughout the past few weeks. For the Giants, 54 and 53 for their scores. It is not pretty for them. There is a lot of ugliness going back down there. Now, Toby Green is coming back this game, so he could be the real X factor and lead the Giants to a winning performance. But again, I've said the Saints, I've said them by 20. Not sure where the margin will be around for this one. This one could really be a blowout, could be close, could be an upset. But just the way the Saints are going, I just feel like they're in way better form. So you move on to Saturday, and this is the Saturday game, Saturday day. So the day game on the Saturday between the Bulldogs and the Crows at Mars Stadium. Now, I have said this one by a 61-point mark in favour of the Dogs. I would definitely think about changing that, but I am going to leave it because I don't change tips for whatever reason it is. For some reason, just don't change my tips. I like them the way they are. The way they initially are is the best way. Because it's your first thought, it's your gut feeling. So that's what I do. The Dogs taking on the Crows now. The Crows. Let's talk about them first. They've been extremely good lately. They could be 4-1 in the form that they are in. They lost by 1 point to the Dockers. They defeated Power by 4. They lost to the Bombers by 4, and they defeated the Tigers by 19. So they've been in some really good form. Now, their only big loss was their loss to the Pies by 42. Other than that, they've been pretty good. And the Dogs, they've been inconsistent this year, but they haven't had the best start either. Last week versus North Melbourne was critical, though. They needed that. And I do feel like the Dogs, just how they played last week, I feel like they're going to come out and they're going to be really good this week. Now, Port Adelaide versus West Coast, massive game for the Power. Their season depends on this. I say you lose this game and top 4 is definitely right out of the running. It is hard, but I still feel like if the Power do everything right, they can make the top 4. But again, I feel like that is definitely pushing it. Top 8 would be the maximum I feel the Power could go. If they make top 4, credit to them. But I feel like top 8 if they get there. West Coast, this game is critical for them. They want to show that they are better and that they can be a decent side away from home. They defeated Collingwood. Can they do it again and scalp a massive upset? They have been pretty good at the Adelaide Oval. They can scalp wins there. They did so against Adelaide last year. And the last few times these teams have met at the Adelaide Oval, Power and Eagles, it has been quite an interesting contest. I have said the Power. I've said them 82-55 in a pretty decent win for the Power. But again, miracles can happen. West Coast could scalp this. But again, I would be very surprised if West Coast would have pulled this one out of the bag. I feel like the Power would have it, especially after how well they played against Carlton in the second half. Freo, Carlton up the stadium Saturday night. Exciting contest. This game is the March comp on the tipping. It is the Fremantle Dockers and the Carlton Blues. Now, this one does go 50-50. These two teams always have close contests, and it is exciting. It's really exciting. The Dockers, they've been looking fantastic, and they are in second spot right now. And the Carlton, they've been looking pretty good, and they're in 6th spot right now. This one is a 50-50 game. Freo, they've been exciting. Their big win over the Bombers was really important. And for the Blues, second half fix-up is what they need to do to take this one out, really. I feel like if Carlton could play a full 4 quarters like they did last week against Power, take the first 2 quarters and play 4 quarters of that, they'll win this contest. For the Dockers, they have been extremely good in the third and final term surges by banging on goals. So if they can keep Carlton low, they should win this game as well. So this is a really exciting contest, this one. And definitely will go 50-50. I'd be surprised if it was a blowout. North Melbourne versus Geelong. And also one more thing, I wouldn't be surprised whichever team gets up. I feel like could go 50-50. North Melbourne, Geelong. Now, North Melbourne, they were horrible against the Dogs, and the Cats were not good against the Hawks. We all knew that. This one is not a 50-50 contest. This one would be again another Cats win. I feel like the Cats should have this one comfortably. 30-40, I've said. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I feel like North will score low. I feel like the Cats will get into the 90s to pull off a pretty decent win. But again, the Cats, they were not very convincing on Easter Monday. So if they take that kind of form and North play like Hawthorn did, watch out. There could be an upset. I'd be extremely surprised if North Melbourne were to get up. But I feel like the safe tip is the Cats, and that is who I have. That's who I've backed. I just feel like that's just a safer option. Gold Coast versus Brisbane at Metricon Stadium. So the Lions haven't been in massive form, to say the least. They did beat the Roos by 108, but other than that, I can't really picture a good time with great form for them. Because they weren't the best against the Pies. But yeah, I'm just going to see who they played in round 3 and 4. So Brisbane's best win was most certainly up against the Kangaroos at the Gabba. Other than that, there hasn't really been any real eye-catching performances. The one against Essendon was good. And they've had some other great performances, but they haven't taken them out by a lot. Now, the Suns, they've shown mixed form this year. They've been good. They really competed against Melbourne. They got smashed by the Giants. And then they beat the Blues. And they get smashed by the Saints. It's kind of like the Suns have been really inconsistent this year. The Lions, they've been consistent, but they haven't been winning by a massive margin. But again, all you got to do is take the 4 points in whatever way you can get them. Now this one, I see this one going in Brisbane, for Brisbane quite convincingly as well, by a pretty convincing margin. Gold Coast, they may put up a fight, but again, I just feel like the Lions are way too strong. Now we move on to the Sunday night game. At 6:55 on the Sunday night, Richmond up against Melbourne. Now, Melbourne, what we've seen this year from Melbourne is sometimes we haven't seen their complete performances. They haven't been playing the best, we all know that, but they've easily walked to 5-0. Last week against Giants was fantastic though, and in that third quarter they put on the surge, which from there turned a game where they had a 20-point lead into a game where they had a 60-point lead. So their turnarounds can be really good. And Richmond, they were just not up to the challenge against Crows last week. And yeah, they just didn't put a great performance up, and that will definitely not give you any form going into Melbourne. They are probably the best team in the competition by a fair way at the moment. They are looking very sharp. They haven't even been playing their best as well. I feel like what we saw against the Giants last week for the Demons is probably right near their best, however. And that surge was fantastic. It really won them the game. For the Tigers, not a lot to say. So, I feel like the D's, another convincing win with another great surge. And anyone on the ground does it for the Demons. Anyone can get a goal. Hawthorn versus Sydney now on the Monday. Now, I do see this one possibly going 50-50 there. There is a bold call, obviously, to tip the Hawks, but how they played on Easter Monday has been pretty good. Now, again, the Hawks this year have been a little bit inconsistent, but I still feel like they've played pretty well in most occasions. Now, Sydney, of course, they've been fantastic this year. They have had they've had one not great loss against the Doggies, but other than that, they've been really good. The game against North Melbourne was not solid either, but we're going to go off last week against West Coast, and that was a real solid performance. Hawthorn, I probably wouldn't be surprised if they were to take out the win, but I feel like, again, I've tipped the Swans. I feel like they are just the better team with the better list in the better place. But again, 50-50, but I just feel like the Swans, bit more favourites, and will win the game. Essendon up against Collingwood now, their traditional Anzac Day clash. Really, really exciting now. The past, I'm not sure how many years, I think it's been 2 perhaps. Has it been 2? Last year, all we know is that Essendon did win the game. I'm pretty sure the year before Essendon won it as well, and then it was all Collingwood. This year, though, I feel like Essendon's streak of winning Anzac Day games is gone. Last week against the Dockers for them was disastrous. They held the game for 2 quarters and let the Dockers get away in the third and the final term, and they only got a score of 59 compared to the Pies. They were looking good against the Lions. They really competed and they really played. So I feel like bring that form in, and they could win this game by a lot. Now, I haven't tipped them by a massive margin. I have tipped them by 26, which is still a decent and quite a big margin, but I feel like they could definitely win this game by more, really. They could win this game by more. If they really try, really put in the effort, they could definitely get a really, really nice and big win out of this. I still feel like it's a 50-50 clash, but look, the Pies, they turn it on, and they'll be hard to beat. The Bombers, if they can actually turn it on, though, this game, they could be tough to beat as well. But I just don't know. The performances we've seen from the Bombers have just not been complete. They have had a hard start, so obviously not going to criticise them. But again, just something to think about there. The Bombers just haven't been in the best of form. Having a look back at last round, here is what we got out of round number 5. Of course, a pretty important round to see where plenty of teams are at. It's really crucial matchups in that round. Here's round number 6. We'll have a look at round number 7 really quick. We'll just fast track to round number 7. See what we've got going on here. Again, some massive matchups, some really important and some really interesting games as well. I can already see round number 7. There's plenty of interesting games as well. And there is plenty of interesting games in this round. And the ladder is looking really interesting right now as well. Melbourne, look at that percentage, 155.9. That will take some stopping. Of course, the early rounds, you get percentage, you gain and lose percentage quite easily. But to the later rounds, it doesn't really budge. So if you get a decent percentage going, you may be just a little bit harder to stop than some of the other teams in the competition. And if you have a lower percentage like North Melbourne do, like West Coast do, like Essendon, GWS and the Power do, it does take a fair bit of repairing for the rest of the year. But that's what we have got. Round number 6 is going to be an absolute beauty. I can just tell you guys. Can let me know your thoughts, your tips in the comment section. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so then you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. This is bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.